Hello there. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good everything. How are you all doing? Yes, it is the World Cafe Live Show. We're back. You know how we do it. Yep, we come in into the space to lean on one another and glean from our experiences to forge a path. Today, I have an interesting topic. Yes, the art and technology of learning. We are in a phase of our existing things are changing so rapidly, one on top of the other. And one thing I've come to realize that will take us through is mastering the art of learning. And I have an interesting personality, that will do justice to this. The first time I came across him, amazing. His thoughts are so amazing. A keynote speaker, a podcaster himself, an author. He's big on learning. Who am I talking about? His name is Simjit Singh. Yes, that name. He's from India. Don't worry, I'll bring him on very soon and he will tell us all about himself. Then we diving into that conversation. Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? There he is.
Hey,
Hi,
Makri,
Sim.
it's a pleasure to be here.
Pleasure to have you on the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, thank you. How
All
about
right.
you?
What's it? Very well, very well. What's it like at your end? I know you're in India. What is it like? What's the
Uh-huh.
weather like there?
Hot, sizzling
Are you?
hot. Uh,
Hey,
it's been, in fact, the hottest April in North India in the last 120 years, my
you
friend.
don't
The
say. You don't say. Whoa.
temperature's already crossing 42, 43 degrees Celsius, which is not typical for April. It gets that hot in about June, early June. But
Hmm.
April used to be spring, but I guess, we humans, we've messed with this planet enough
Enough.
to
And
see
now we're, we're,
these
we're,
sort
we're
of
having
out.
the feedback now, so to say.
Yeah,
Yes.
feedback from
So
Mother
thank
Nature.
you. We can say that again. Thank you for coming. Joining us today. So, who is Simajit Singh? Let's get to meet him.
Well, you would want me to talk about that? Okay, sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah, this can be a very deep question. Who is
Mhm.
Simrajit Singh, or who are you, or who am I, for that matter? Rumi, the famous Sufi philosopher, he said, "My life was going okay until somebody stopped me one day and asked, 'Who are you,
Who
really?'"
are you?
Right. So, yeah, deep question there. I am currently, my friend, in the quest for finding better ways to help people make better choices. That is my mission, is to enable humanity, enable people here in India, across the world, wherever people can understand what I have to say, is to empower people, empower teams, leaders, and organizations to make better choices. That's the mission of my life now. Because I believe you create a better life through better choices. We are the product of the past choices that we make,
Hmm.
that we had made in the past, and what we choose today will impact who will become in the future. So my mission is to present information, ideas, inspiration in a way that it engages their mind, and it forces them to think and rethink what's happening in their lives, so that they're able to improve the quality of their life. And I believe it's through that we create a better world. When I improve, we create a better world. When one of our listeners improve even by 1%, we create a ripple effect. I saw a video the other day on Facebook, and it was about the domino effect. Very interesting video. The domino effect, and this guy had a huge piece of stone, rectangular piece of stone right at the end, and then the smaller one, in fact, in front of it, and then another smaller one. And the smallest one was a tiny little chip of
Yep.
stone. And
Hmm.
when the smallest one would fall, and the bigger one would fall, and the bigger, and like dominoes, they'd all come crashing down. I believe improvement, self improvement works that way. Improvement in society works that way. When we fight with and overcome and win one of the tiny little battles inside our head, we then
Hmm.
send a ripple effect of improvement. So Simrajit Singh is currently on a mission to empower people across the world through our blogs, through our podcasts, interviews, keynotes, workshops, books, and other conversations, to enable people to make better choices. That's my mission.
Amazing. I mean, that illustration you gave about the domino effect.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I come across it, it's like, how can something so small bring about a significant change when you are conscious about it? You know, how can that be? Can you expound on that? Something so small, when you concentrate on it and it creates this massive ripple effect that is so significant. Can you
All
can
right, sure.
you
Definitely. Definitely. I'd love to. If they have this term and they call it the emotional contagion. Emotional
mm,
contagion is when the dominant emotions of one person impact the emotions of those around him. Let's say a leader, or in a household situation, if you're a homemaker, if you're watching this, let's say it's the somebody who has the dominant position in the household, right?
yeah.
A leader in the household, whoever it happens to be, or in the workplace. Now, his or her dominant emotions are going to impact the emotions of other people. They call it
mm,
emotional contagion, or for you to remember it better, they call it the emotional Wi Fi also. Daniel Goleman
mm,
first used the term, the emotional Wi Fi, which means around you is a Wi Fi network of your dominant emotions. So let's say if you make a little change in your life, if you maybe take 3 meditation breaks, 5 minutes each during your day, you just sit
mm,
in silence in 5 minutes and just feel more centered and concentrate on your breathing a little bit
mm,
and think on something that is working well in your life and feel gratitude or some positive emotion. Let's say you bring about a little tiny change. 5 minutes a day, you're taking a meditation break in the middle of your day. Okay?
mm,
Tiny
yeah.
change, and you become more centered. Let's say now you, for the next half an hour, you are a better person around your team members.
Yeah.
You're a better person around your children. You're a better person around your spouse.
Mm,
That is going to create a ripple effect, a larger ripple effect, because it spreads out like a virus, right? So
yeah.
even, especially if you're in a leadership position, especially if people look up to you,
Yeah.
the small changes that you make create a huge impact. And that's how society changes. And that's how you change too. Now, let me give you another example. Let's say you wake up 15 minutes before your usual time. It's a tiny
Yeah.
little change, tiny little ripple. But you that 15 minutes, you're not stuck in traffic anymore
Mm,
because you just 15 minutes you were ahead of everybody else. Everybody else is going down the same road if you're all traveling to an institution or somewhere, 1,000 people reporting for work, all coming driving towards that direction, same time, but you're just 15 minutes ahead of them. You don't get the traffic, you beat the traffic, you're ahead of everybody else in the office. Those 15 minutes, you get to spend time to plan what you do during the day. This 15 minutes is going to have a huge positive ripple effect in your life as well. And that's how you'll say, wow, tomorrow if I could do half an hour, wouldn't that be great? And that's how change begins. The whole idea of self transformation is you wake up a different person next morning. I think
mm.
that's a very romantic idea, which is usually not true. Most people, most people do not change in an instant, in an aha moment. Well, some do,
Mhm.
but most of us,
Yeah.
we go through a gradual process of learning and improvement and development.
You know, learning, as it were, has been, what I say, presented in this, what's the right word to use now? This premise of something very difficult, something very boring, you don't
Uh-huh.
get anything out of it. But the truth is, from what you're explaining now, paying a close attention to every tiny detail in your life, it's all about learning. Oh, I did it like this yesterday. Can I do it better? How better can I present this and all? So I wanted to like throw more light on this. How do I consciously learn to improve myself on a daily basis? Looking at the gradual process that builds into that gigantic change, or what?
Great
How do
question
I?
there.
Yep.
Great question. And I believe I'll just address the first part of what you said, that traditionally we perceive learning as a boring activity. And that's largely to blame on the traditional school system,
Mm,
right?
Yeah.
Makri, because I'm sure whether it's in India or other parts of the world or Africa or Middle East or Southeast Asia or wherever our viewers happen to be, we've done a pretty good job at making sure that education is boring. We've done a pretty good job.
Yeah.
While the process of learning, the process of developing yourself should be one of the most exciting things a human being can ever do, right? But
True.
we've in our endeavor to systemize it, to make sure it's standardize it, to follow the industrial model of prescribing the textbooks and the way we teach them and the way we run the classrooms, etc. We did a pretty good job at turning our youngsters off when it comes to learning, right? Because we made it boring. But the activity in itself is so reinvigorating. So here's my message to young professionals or people who are now in charge of their learning 100%, right? If you're out of school, if you're not in school or college or university anymore, you are in charge of your learning and development. You are your own learning and development department, right? You should have a budget. You should have a syllabus or a curriculum, what you want to do. You should have a plan. You should have learning strategies, and you should follow through. Think of yourself as a one-person corporation, right? If it's Simjit Singh Corporation or Amakri Corporation or any other of our viewers, think of yourself as a one-person corporation who is offering his or her services to the world today. Okay? Think of yourself like that. And then every corporation has a learning and development department. And since you are one, you should also, part of your head should be devoted to this learning and development activity. So a couple of important questions there to ask are, what would I like to learn, right? Where am I going to learn those skills? How I'm going to make sure that I learn those skills effectively? What resources do I already have available? It's not about waiting for admission into that dream university or spending maybe tens of thousands of dollars on enrolling in courses and all that. It's also about looking at what resources do I have available to me right now. So I think the foundation of this entire process of learning is readiness. Readiness. Am I ready to learn or not? Because if you're not ready, the world's best resources will be wasted on you because you're operating with a closed mind. Right? So making sure that you are in a mindset which is ready to receive, ready to learn, ready to improve, ready to detach from what you already know, ready to challenge what you already know. That is a space which not many people are comfortable with because learning, let's face it, is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable. It's pushing yourself outside the comfort zone. Why would you? It's just like exercise. Why would you bother to go to the gym? Because I want to stay in shape and I want to feel good about myself. That's why I bother going to the gym. So the question is, why should I bother learning? And I need to have a strong answer for that too, because otherwise we love comfort. We prefer comfort. And in this world, the biggest insurance policy that you can take out against unemployment is your constant devotion to learning and development. That is the number one thing. There are no guarantees anymore. For people who want guarantees, I don't know who said this, but I read it somewhere. If you want guarantees, buy a light bulb or a toaster or something like that, right? Your careers don't come with guarantees. Life doesn't come with a guarantee. It's all a risk-based proposition. And for you to succeed in this risky endeavor, you must commit to becoming somebody who can add value to the economy. That's the bottom line. If you're doing something which can be delegated to a machine or to a robot or to a bot, it's going to happen soon. If your job does not require innovation or creativity or originality or critical thinking, the day is not far when your job will be outsourced to a machine. Given the pace of, whether it's machine learning or artificial intelligence or all these new groundbreaking technologies coming in, we're just seeing the tip of the iceberg at the moment. Look how the internet transformed the world. The internet is not that old, but it came out as a network of computers inside a university, and then came the WWW, the World Wide Web, and now we have the metaverse and so on and so forth. In a short span of time, the internet has transformed humanity. That somebody sitting in India and somebody sitting in Africa can now have a conversation that people around the world can tune in. Look at the power of that. We could not even dream about this 10 years ago, 20 years ago, right?
True.
Now,
Right.
next to food and air and water, the Wi-Fi is one of those things that we need to survive and do well. Look at what the
You're
internet has
very
done to
correct.
us.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then think about what machine learning is going to do to us. And then think about what AI is going to do to us, right? And here's what it's going to do. It's going to make our life easier by removing the three Ds, the dull, dirty, and dangerous jobs are going to go to machine. The dull, dirty, and dangerous jobs will be outsourced first. Question is, with people out of jobs which were dull and did not require their originality or their creativity, what would they do? And my answer to that is you got to commit to your own learning and development today to make sure you have a vision for yourself.
True.
Do you know, Helen Keller was once asked, so Helen, somebody asked her, "You're blind. Tell us, is there something worse in life than being blind?" And she said, yes. Not having a vision for your life is worse than being blind. Not having a vision for your life is worse than being blind. So you got to have a vision for yourself. Who would you like to be in the next 5 years, 10 years? How do you see yourself next year? Are you working towards that vision? If not, who have you given the responsibility to? Is it your manager, your leader, your employer? Then you're doing a huge disservice to yourself. You got to take this responsibility back.
Yeah. Amazing. Anything worse than blindness is not having a vision. Now, that word vision, a lot of us have, each time we come across it, a good number of us like see it like vision is for one corporation. Vision
Yeah,
is for
yeah,
one entity called a company or something, but not having your personal vision. Now, I know once you said something about growing in going through what you're going, as in you're growing in what you're going through, and I think vision has a lot to do about that. I
yeah.
want you to like give us that personalized version of you need a vision. Yes, you're going through stuff, but listen, you can grow in that thing you're going through to become somebody. But that is a function of vision. I mean, I want you to just throw more light on that.
Sure, sure. That's a great question. I feel one of the most dangerous things for any person is mental confusion. Mental confusion manifests physical confusion, financial confusion, relationship confusion, career confusion. So, confusion in your mind creates confusion in all parts of your life. Clarity in your mind creates clarity in all parts of your life. So, everybody, wherever you are tuning into this conversation, this is what I would like you to do. Take a deep breath in and remind yourself clarity is a superpower. Clarity is a superpower. In fact, I welcome you to type that into the conversation chat box as well. Clarity is a superpower. And this is what a vision helps you to do. A vision helps you to have more internal clarity in your mind. What do I want to be? Intentionality. A vision brings intentionality. There are two situations. 3 years from now, if I'm not intentional about my life, I would still grow and develop, right? I would still be somewhere. The question is that intentional or accidental? For a lot of people, it's accidental. Where will you end up in 1 year? It depends upon my circumstances. Wrong. Of course, circumstances play a role. Depends upon your vision. It depends upon your intentionality. It depends upon your mindset, your values, your discipline. So in other words, you're in charge. You're not a victim. You're in charge. So vision brings clarity. Vision brings intentionality. With intentionality and clarity, you are now in a position to guide and direct your life into that direction. What you mentioned about grow through what you go through.
Yeah.
That philosophy means, that mindset means, of course, on my journey, I'm going to encounter unpleasant situations. I'm going to encounter unpleasant people, challenges. So many things are going to happen. Will I let those challenges unsettle me? Or will I use those challenges as a catalyst for my growth? That's where you are in charge. It's how you look at it.
Mm.
Will you allow that difficult boss or the difficult colleague or the difficult employee that you're working with, will you allow them to unsettle you, or will you use that entire thing as a learning process?
Mm.
With that financial challenge, the career challenge, will it throw you off the tracks, off the rail, or will it help you become stronger and a more mature person in the process? And that really
Yeah.
depends upon how you look at these things. Perception is everything, my friend. That's really the key. Perception is everything.
Yeah.
So I would say to people who might be going through a difficult time right now is consider this difficult situation as a teacher.
Okay.
You know, the best teachers we had back in school, Makri, the best teachers. In fact, think of your best teacher in school, and the person was probably a little hard on you, a little tough on you, right?
Exactly. Right. Right.
There you go. Or when we grow up and we look at how mom and dad were so strict about certain things, and
Mm.
now we realize why they did it, right? They had a
Yeah.
purpose. They wanted to teach us something.
Yeah.
The most powerful learnings in life will come from your biggest, strongest challenges. Don't
Yeah.
run away from them. They're here to teach you something. They're here to help you grow, to make you stronger, to make sure your roots are stronger, to make sure you is maybe God's way of preparing you for something in the
Something.
future.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Amazing. You know, listening to you, this two things you've said, I mean, in this short time: clarity, intentionality, clarity, intentionality. I mean, these two things are, like you put them, superpowers. When you come to embrace clarity and you're intentional, it's like there's this energy that comes to you in
Absolutely.
moving, yes, forward. Beautiful, beautiful. I when you said the teachers with hard in life, like, okay, I'm going through stuff, these things are here to teach me, and you making a reference to when we're in school,
Yeah.
probably the hardest teachers, or those who were so hard on us, if we think back, you now come to say, wow, that's true, they did this, and I'm better for it today. Somehow I had
Sure.
to embrace, yes, the hardness, in quote, to push me forward. And this is one thing a good number of us, out from the school setting or whatever, in society, we tend to look at it like life is hard. Life is hard. And we look at
Yeah.
it from the negative perspective that, yes, life is hard. But if you are intentional and you have that vision, which is clarity, you come to see that the hardness of life is like a stepping stone for you. It pulls you to the next level. I mean, I can really, really relate with that statement. Beautiful. Guys, we've been talking with Simajit Singh. I mean, you'll agree with me. He has this amazing perspective to learning, and he has said so much so far. And it's mind blowing. So tell me, what are you up to? What's your project? What are you doing so far going forward?
Well, yeah, right now the focus is using all mediums possible to get out, to put out a positive message for society. So whether it's videos, it's blogs, it's podcasts, it's live appearances, it's keynotes, it's to get this message to as many people possible across the world. And thank you to all of you on social media for helping spread that word. Whether it's you guys share our videos on WhatsApp or on Facebook or whatever medium it happens to be, because here's the beauty of the living in this interconnected world is the democratization of knowledge, that
Yeah.
the powerful ideas, life-changing ideas, which can change
Mm.
people and countries and companies, are no longer restricted to the elite, to a handful of people. Now that there is this true democracy as far as the best ideas go. So it comes down to what? It's not about the ideas anymore. It's about implementation. It's about putting those things into practice. So what are we up to? Well, we want to take this information to those who've been left behind by the formal system, whether it's here in India or other parts of the world. So to take it to those regions, those areas. So we do a lot of work in India in the regional languages as well, in Hindi, in Punjabi, to make sure that people who, not just those who understand English, but those who also are maybe living in the rural areas or do not have access to formal education, can grab hold of what we have to say, and it might empower them, might change them, because there's one way of looking at it is as this phrase goes: teach a man to fish and you feed him for a day. Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day, and teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. So it's about sharing my own life experiences. So the top priority right now, where the focus is to consolidate all the work that I've done over the last 14 years. I've devoted 14 years of my life, Amakri, to studying human behavior and to presenting these keynotes and workshops and videos, etc. It's been 14 years, a long journey, interesting journey. It doesn't seem like time just flew by. It doesn't seem like it's... When you're having a good time, it's all very relative. When you're having a good time, it's 14 years seems gone. Like, gone. Yeah. And at the same time, if you feel that time is dragging for you, it's probably, you're not probably in the right profession. So, so our top focus right now is to consolidate all the work that I've done over the last 14 years, package it in a way that people can use it. So I'm preparing for my legacy. I'm working on my legacy right now. So I don't want to leave it to chance. I want to put out, and we don't care about views or what people. So it's not the market that's dictating us. It's sometimes people say, oh, if you produce that kind of videos, you might do very well. You're based out of India. You should do all your videos in Hindi, and you will have 4 million, 5 million subscribers. You're just stuck at 1.5, right? Well, I said, well, who tells you that this is about the numbers? This is not about the numbers. It's about giving. It's not about the numbers. I hope it never will be. It's about giving expression to what I feel strongly about. That's what this is about. If it happens through a poem, I'm happy to do it through a poem. If it happens through a story, I'm happy to do it through a story. It's about giving expression to what I feel strongly about. It's not dictated by what the market wants from us, what people want to listen to. It's about, if I feel strongly about it, we're going to put it out there. And maybe sooner or later, it's the content will find its audience. This is not about becoming famous. This is not about saying, oh, we have X number of subscribers. All that happens, and we are very grateful for that. Yeah. I am very grateful, Amarki, for all the the abundance that has flowed into my life. I'm very, very grateful. But I'm also mindful. I'm also mindful to not allow this abundance to dictate the future steps that we should take. So it is my desire, my prayer to the Almighty to give us the strength and the ability to do what we think is important, regardless of the risks involved, regardless of the whatever is involved, that we should do what needs to be done, because that's the spirit with which we started 14 years ago. And I invite everybody who's listening in to get in touch with the same spark that you had on your first day of business or your first day at work. You came with a spark. Yeah. You wanted to change things. You wanted to prove yourself and do so many things. And then somewhere along the way, you got comfortable. And that is dangerous. So get in touch with that spark once again. So that's our mission here at the moment.
Beautiful. I know you do poems. I've not stumbled. I mean, I've followed a couple of your readings. What was it? What is it with you and poems? As in, why that? Should I say medium?
Or stories for that matter. Or these are vehicles. A good poem is crisp, is poetic. It's art, and it's saying so much in a few words. So some of the gems out there, right? And I feel them. I get goosebumps every time I read them personally. And then I shared with my audiences, live audiences, and my
yeah,
keynotes. And I was like, wow, I'm able to say in 3 minutes what I would usually say in 60 minutes through this
yeah.
beautiful poem here right now, right? So that's how I fell in love with poetry of all languages, Hindi, English, Punjabi,
Mm,
because poets are artists and they are conveying profound, deep messages in very few words, right?
mm.
And I tried recording a few of them for our YouTube channel, and we were surprised by the response that we got. Some of these
Amazing,
poems went
amazing.
viral
Yeah,
across the world,
yeah.
and we were blown away with the response. So we thought, why not? And I did it for myself again. It's not
Mm,
so much. It's going with the same principle. If I read that poem and it gives me strength and gives me hope and courage, and I feel the goosebumps, I feel better after reading it. I feel the depth of the words. I connect with what the author had to say. I feel like
mm.
we should record it. We should record it and put it out there on our YouTube channel. So yeah, that's how my love
Beautiful.
affair with poetry started.
Beautiful. Yeah, because I mean, there was this particular morning. What happened? I think you popped up on my screen, as in on YouTube. Yes, I mean on LinkedIn. It was on LinkedIn. So I
Okay.
was like, "How this guy? Yes, let me listen to him." And like, whoa, amazing! So I started listening, and it happened at about 6 a.m. in the morning. Thereabout, I was
Oh
getting
wow.
ready for the day. Yeah, to go to just go to the office and all that. So I just played it. I kept playing it, and that was how I started following your thoughts. I was like, he has an amazing, amazing thought and feel to what he's doing. And it would be nice to have him come over and share with us here on the Word Cafe. Honestly, beautiful. So where do we
My
catch you if
pleasure.
we want to catch you? Where do we catch you? As in, I want to get hold of him. Where do I get hold of him?
I think the lot of action is happening on our YouTube channels. That's youtube.com/ Simjit Singh, spelled as Simerjeet Singh. That's where a lot of the new videos come out, all different languages. But if you're on the road, if you want to listen to the content while you're exercising, cooking, whatever you're doing, traveling, I think the next best option is catch us on the Anchor podcast, again by the same name. But if you go to my website, which is simmerjeetsingh.com, you'll find links to all social media and everything. That's everything put together under one umbrella. So that's a great place to stay in touch. Um, we are having these conversations as well with experts and thought leaders from different parts of the world. It's called the Beginner's Mind series. My second TEDx talk just came out yesterday, so I'd love to share that with
Oh,
the audience.
oh,
Yeah.
amazing,
um,
beautiful. I'll go check it out. I'll go check it
yeah,
out. You're
please.
doing you're doing great stuffs there. You're doing great stuffs out there. And
Thank
just
you.
to let you know that you have people who are listening, and following and also getting inspired, as in they get inspired. The most beautiful thing that can happen, just like you said, when you have that gut feel and you do what you do, the effect it has on you, the way you feel, be rest assured a good number of people are also feeling that way, because they are being inspired. He can do it, so can I. And they, move
Absolutely.
in that, they become intentional and move in that direction. Amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Before I let you go, tell us how, because this for you is more or less like work. How do you unwind? How do you relax? How do you spend time with family?
Sure. It's become a little hard lately to switch off from the work mode. So to be honest with you, however, I've come to the conclusion that maybe it's something that's now become an integral part of who I am. So why switch
Mhm,
off? Right? So,
mhm,
however, maybe I tone it down a little when
mhm,
when I'm
mhm.
with friends or family. But yeah, we have a lot of fun at work too. We find time to sit together as a team and maybe chat sometimes, have a coffee or do something like that. So
Yeah.
I think blessed to have that sort of balance. But how do I unwind? How do I refuel my workouts? I would love not to miss a good workout. I experimented with I would download some Netflix series and taking them to the gym. So
Mm,
now I've made watching a Netflix series a little more difficult for myself. in the sense that I have to be on a treadmill or a bicycle or a cross trainer while I'm
Mm.
watching it. So that's good 45 minutes of cardio there while you're hooked onto a Netflix series. That's working. That's working well for me. It rejuvenates you, physical exercise. I do that. Spend time with my daughters and cooking. Yeah, I love cooking every now and then. It's a good way to be creative and bond with the family and eating, having a good meal together every now and then. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's important to take out the time to spend time with your loved ones. But it's been a little bit of a challenge lately with remote work, especially after we created this virtual studio and this all this
Exactly.
video content that we create and everything. All these conversations happening in different time zones across the world. In fact, today itself, we're speaking to. I'm going on 4 different virtual appearances, all different time zones.
Whoa.
So
Whoa.
the day's open, but it's fun. It's fun. It's not draining. And the day it becomes like a something that drains me. I think that'll be the day that I stop and reflect and
And
figure out what
reflect.
needs to change.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. Sima, thank you so much for taking this time to do this with us on the Word Cafe. We're so grateful, and we hope you will respond to us again when we call. A beautiful conversation we've had. I mean, and I mean, my audience, without a shadow of doubt, they are being blessed by this. Guys, I must tell you, I've had a wonderful, should I say, 30 minutes plus discussing with Simons on this topic. And honestly, I am inspired, to go out there and, do more. Yes, time is not our friend when it comes to this, but you know how we do it. We will always come back with, I mean, amazing topics and guests to discuss more and more and more. But like we say it always on the show, the word works. Don't just throw it carelessly. Your words are powerful. You create, you design, you shape your world by the words of your mouth. And that is what the Word Cafe is all about. Till we come your way again, I'm your host, Amakri Soe. Bye for now.
Makri,
See?
Makri, you're doing a wonderful job. I salute your spirit and thank you for creating this space.
Thank you. Thank you. All right,
Take
then.
care.
Bye, Steve. Bye.
Bye bye now.